Opposition leader Aubrey Norton contends that Vice President Bharat Jagdeo and the PPP are deluded into believing that Guyana is their private estate. His comments were prompted by the government's decision to grant lands along Thomas Lands to a Qatari investor for the construction of a hotel.
In discussing the Qatari deal at his last press conference, Jagdeo accused the opposition of criticizing every good PPP idea. Let us be crystal clear. We, on behalf of the Guyanese people, will persist in opposing every half-baked or ill-conceived public project, and equally every instance of government corruption, secrecy, unaccountability, mismanagement, and dictatorship.
The government had claimed that Guyana Lands and Surveys had proven that the lands along Carifest Avenue were owned by the government. However, City Hall has insisted otherwise and has provided the transport to prove it.
Qatari hotel deal is the subject of a legitimate dispute between the government and the Georgetown City Council regarding ownership of the land in question. Outside of the ownership dispute, legitimate concerns have also been voiced about the best use of the land, in addition to the questionable government practice of covertly handpicking developers. The situation as it stands is bad for the political and business climate of the country.
Georgetown Mayor Alfred Mentor said that the transport was verified.
The transport was verified by the National Archives. Transport beyond 1960 or transport 1960 and onwards, you could verify those transports at the deeds registry. Transport behind that period, you have to verify it at the National Archives. And this transport that we provided to the media was a transport verified by the National Archives of Guyana that speaks of the authenticity of that transport.
The Qatari group has already begun construction on the disputed land. Mentor said that the council is prepared to go to court to challenge that construction.
We've asked our city engineer, based on the unauthorized work that is being carried out on the property itself, we've asked our engineer to place a cease work order within 72 hours of that meeting.
This matter would impact any new government. Norton said that due process should prevail.
I would say the government handled it badly, and therefore action needs to be taken to ensure that it's handled properly. One is not opposed to investment. One is opposed to the arbitrary nature in which it is done. One is opposed to the disrespect to the city council and the law.
He said that the government, when it devised the plan to construct a hotel at that location, never assessed the number of hotel rooms that would be needed in Guyana in the next 2 decades.
I believe they wake up a morning, and if they wake up a morning and believe a hotel must go there, or somebody from Qatar entice them in a deal, they just go ahead. And they pay no attention to proper planning, to proper land use. That section, the north of Georgetown, the schools will be in trouble for playgrounds.
There is no environmental impact assessment done to determine how you'll be able to treat with this, how you'll be able to treat with the seawall itself, where you have, I think, a number of vendors there as well who vend, and people frequent that particular area.
When all is said and done, the council must have the wherewithal to enforce the cease work order.
In relation to statutory laws and requirements, we are not right when it treats with these issues of this nature. So naturally, as we ask our engineer to do what they have to do, to act on these issues. Yes, we know that many of these officers, for some reason or the other, are somehow or the other controlled by or influenced by the central administration. But at the end of the day, they have a statutory responsibility to do their work. So in addition to the city engineer having to follow through on the cease work order, we have to treat with our constabulary to be able to enforce this issue. And if it's not done in that particular way, there's always the issue of not this high court in this case